Your neighbor knows something about your dog that you don't. They know exactly when the barking starts, how long it lasts, and how it slowly fades into a silence that doesn't feel normal. Because while you're gone, your dog is living a story you never see. You come home, and everything looks fine, but what if fine is just what it looks like at the end? What if the real story begins the moment you close the door? Welcome to Paws Mind, where we uncover the hidden psychology behind your dog's behavior. Today, we're revealing what really happens inside your dog's mind when you leave, and why it's more emotional than you ever imagined. At first, it looks like nothing more than a small mess. A cushion on the floor, a corner of the rug slightly torn, maybe a shoe out of place. You pause for a second, trying to remember if it was always like that. Your dog greets you calmly, maybe a little excited, but nothing unusual. No obvious guilt. No clear signs of chaos. So you tell yourself a simple story. Boredom, mischief, maybe just a bad day. But what if that's not the truth? Because what you're seeing is only the aftermath. The final frame of a much longer experience your dog went through while you were gone. And without seeing the middle of that story, it's almost impossible to understand what really happened. When researchers placed cameras inside homes and watched what really happened, the story changed completely. The first reaction didn't take hours. It started within minutes. On average, dogs began barking, whining, or howling just over 3 minutes after their owner left. And within 7 minutes, destructive behavior often followed. But the most surprising part wasn't the noise. It was what came after. As the barking faded, something else took over: heavy panting, elevated heart rate, restless movement. From the outside, it looked like the dog had calmed down. But inside, the stress never stopped. It didn't disappear. It simply changed form. Now compare that to dogs who don't struggle when left alone. In controlled studies, these dogs spent nearly 97% of their time resting. They lay down, relaxed, occasionally shifting position, maybe checking their surroundings, but without distress. No panic, no cycles, no hidden tension. But for dogs with separation-related stress, the pattern is completely different. They don't truly rest. Even in silence, their bodies remain alert, waiting for a sound, a signal for you, and that's the real difference. It's not about breed, not age, not even personality. It's about what the dog has learned to expect when you leave. What's even more surprising is that for many dogs, the stress doesn't start when you leave. It starts before that. Long before the door closes, your dog is already watching you. Not casually, but carefully. You pick up your phone, you put on your shoes, you reach for your keys. To you, these are small, meaningless actions. But to your dog, they are signals, pieces of a pattern repeated hundreds of times. And that pattern leads to one outcome: being left alone. So by the time you walk to the door, some dogs are already panting, some are pacing, some follow you from room to room, silently hoping that this time you might not leave. For years, you've probably heard the same advice. Pick up your keys randomly, put on your shoes, then sit back down. Make your dog stop reacting to those signals. It sounds logical, but here's the problem. For many dogs, it doesn't actually reduce anxiety. Sometimes it makes it worse, because the fear was never about the keys, or the shoes, or any single action. It's about what those actions predict. Uncertainty. Your dog isn't afraid of you leaving the room. They're afraid of not knowing when or if you'll come back. And when you make that pattern unpredictable, you're not removing fear. You're removing their ability to feel safe. If you're still watching this, chances are something here feels familiar. Maybe your dog follows you everywhere. Maybe they start acting differently the moment you pick up your keys. Or maybe you've always had a feeling something deeper was going on. Take a second right now. Look at your dog. Do they show signs before you even leave? Comment yes if you've noticed it, or never if this is completely new to you. And if this is starting to change how you see your dog, don't forget to hit subscribe to Paws Mind, because what we're about to reveal next will surprise you even more. One of the most overlooked factors isn't the dog, it's the owner. A long-term study revealed something surprising. Emotional goodbyes, long hugs, dramatic farewells, had almost no effect on separation anxiety. But what happened when the owner returned? That changed everything. Dogs whose owners came home to find damage and reacted with anger, frustration, or raised voices were up to 6 times more likely to develop serious separation-related behaviors. Here's why. Your dog doesn't connect your reaction to what happened hours ago. They don't understand cause and effect like you do. What they connect your emotion to is your arrival. So over time, coming home becomes something your dog starts to fear. And this is where everything becomes a cycle. You leave, your dog panics. You come back, and if your reaction carries stress, frustration, or anger, your dog panics again, but for a different reason. Over time, these 2 moments start to connect. Leaving becomes scary, coming back becomes unpredictable. So instead of feeling relief when you return, your dog feels tension. And that's how an entire day turns into a loop of stress. Not because your dog is dramatic, not because they're too sensitive, but because their world has become emotionally unstable. One of the most common suggestions people hear is simple: just get another dog. It sounds comforting, logical even. If your dog feels lonely, give them a companion. But the research tells a very different story. Because separation anxiety isn't about being alone, it's about being without you. In fact, studies have shown that dogs in multi-dog households can sometimes vocalize even more when left alone. Why? Because the presence of another dog doesn't replace the specific bond they have with you. It doesn't solve the fear, it just changes the environment. So instead of 1 anxious dog, you may end up with 2 each struggling in their own way. There's a moment many owners misunderstand, and it looks like peace. The barking stops, the movement slows, your dog lies down quietly. From the outside, it feels like they've finally settled. But sometimes, that silence isn't calm. It's something else. In psychology, there's a concept called learned helplessness. When an animal stops reacting, not because things are okay, but because it no longer believes anything it does will change the outcome. Your dog didn't relax. It gave up trying. And in some severe cases, long-term stress doesn't show as high tension, but as something even more concerning. A system that's been overwhelmed for so long, it starts to shut down. There's one more layer most people never think about, and it might be the most important one. Your dog doesn't just live with you, they sync with you. Studies have shown that over time, a dog's stress levels begin to mirror their owners. Not occasionally, but consistently. If you carry tension, anxiety, constant pressure, your dog feels it too. Which means, when you leave, your dog isn't starting from a calm state. They're starting from whatever you've been carrying all along. Your absence doesn't create the stress. It amplifies it. And sometimes, what your dog is reacting to isn't just being alone. It's the emotional world you both share. The market for separation anxiety solutions is enormous. Calming diffusers, soothing music, puzzle toys, anxiety wraps, and many of them promise the same thing: a calmer, happier dog while you're away. But here's the reality. Most of these products don't address the core problem. They focus on the hours you're gone, not the emotional pattern behind it. A toy might distract your dog for a few minutes. A sound might fill the silence. But once that distraction fades, the feeling comes back. Because the issue was never boredom. It was uncertainty. It was emotional dependence. And that's something no product can fix on its own. So what actually works? Not bigger distractions, not louder noise, but something much simpler and much slower: gradual exposure. You don't start with hours. You start with seconds. Walk to the door, then come back. Touch the handle, then stop. Repeat it again and again. It may feel like nothing is happening, but to your dog, something important is changing. You're building a new pattern. You leave, and you return. Over time, that repetition becomes proof. And once your dog truly believes you will come back, everything else begins to shift. For more severe cases, training alone may not be enough. Some dogs are dealing with anxiety at a level where their brain simply can't relax or relearn on its own. In these situations, veterinarians often combine behavior training with medication, not to sedate the dog, but to reduce the intensity of the stress response. Because when the brain is less overwhelmed, it becomes capable of learning again. Studies have shown that this combination can significantly improve outcomes, helping dogs shift from constant fear to a more neutral, manageable state. It's not a shortcut, it's support. And for some dogs, it makes all the difference. So, in the end, this was never about a bad dog. It was never about disobedience, or boredom, or even misbehavior. It was about something much deeper. A dog that hasn't yet learned that you're leaving and you're returning are part of the same story. Because to them, those two moments feel completely different. One feels like loss, the other unpredictable. And until those two connect, the fear remains. Your dog doesn't need more toys or more noise. They need something far more powerful. Certainty, the quiet, repeated proof that no matter how many times you walk out that door, you always come back. If this video changed the way you see your dog, then it already did something important. Because understanding is where everything begins. So tell me, what does your dog do right before you leave? Do they follow you, watch you closely, or start acting differently the moment you pick up your keys? Leave a comment below, I read every single one. And if you want to truly understand what your dog is feeling, make sure to subscribe to Paws Mind, because this is just the beginning. In the next video, we're diving into what your dog is really thinking when they stare at you.